Good day and welcome to Teaching and Learning TV. In this particular presentation, what we want to look at is what a clicker is and where you might use it, and then how you can use it in your teaching. So what is a clicker? Well, a clicker is essentially an audience response system which allows people who are sitting in a lecture or a presentation or a seminar to provide anonymous feedback to you, the presenter. Now, why would you want to use a clicker? Well, firstly, part of the key is in the fact that it's anonymous, so your audience can respond without feeling threatened. But in addition to that, you get to find useful information from your audience. Maybe you want to gauge the understanding of a particular point, say it's in a lecture, or possibly what you're trying to do is find out if they agree or disagree with something you've said. So by setting up the clicker system and setting up a series of questions, which we will look at, you can get this feedback from the audience. There are two sides to it. As a presenter, there is your back-end side where you will develop the questions that you want to ask, and then there is the front end of the audience side which they see. So in this particular video, we'll be looking at the back-end side. And in this area, we will show you how you can set up your own clicker system with your own questions, which you can then use in a seminar or in your lectures. Right, welcome to the back-end part of the clicker system. And this is called the sandbox. It's called the sandbox because in a sense you have fun, but more importantly, it's the place where you start to design the survey or the question response system that you want to engage with your audience. So this is the back-end portion that you need to get into to set up the questions. The very first thing you need to do is you need to be registered for the system. So there's a link on the screen. You need to email ICS to get your registration details. Once you've done that, you will see an email in reply which will have your login details. Once you have those, you need to go to click.ukzn.ac.za/sandbox and enter your email and then your password. Once you've entered your email and your password, simply click login. You will now arrive at the welcome screen. Simple as that. You've logged in, it says welcome, and hit OK. There are two parts to setting up your question response system. Very simple. The two main options are to look at the surveys you've already created or to add a new survey, and we'll go through each of these. So clicking on the surveys will list all the surveys that you have already created, and we'll come back to that in a moment. You can click on any of these surveys, you can edit the surveys, find out what the responses are like, or alternatively delete them. The moment we're going to start by creating a new survey, so you simply click on add. First up, you need to enter what you want to call the survey, and you enter your title. So let's do one on the clicker system. It's very important that you have a keyword. Now this keyword is a unique keyword, and it's the keyword that you're going to give to your audience that they can respond to the survey. So you need to think of something that's not too long. So supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is too long as a keyword and they're not going to know how to spell it. So you want to have something that is appropriate to your survey and that they can remember and type quite easily because they may be using a mobile device or something like that. So think of a keyword. I'm just going to use click system. Clicker, that's even easier. Right, the next thing is you've got to choose a duration, and this is the period of time in which the clicker system is available for people to submit responses. And so all you do is choose a start date. So I'll choose, for example, 4th of May, and click that, and then an end date. So you can choose any duration if you want it to just be available for the presentation that you're doing, or if it's for a week or a month, you can do that as well. So I'm going to choose the 5th of May to the 6th of May and click done. Right, you are now ready to move to the next part, which is to set your survey up. So once you've done all of that, click Add Surveys. Your new survey is now added, and we are ready to continue. At this point, you have options to add questions to your surveys. Now, remember, these are surveys that are going to engage your audience in the presentation or in the lecture. They're not intended to be comprehensive surveys that include 400 questions. It's about opening up channels of communication. It's about getting feedback. So think about the types of questions that you're asking. But you do have the option to add a variety of questions. So the first thing you do is click Add a Question, and then you choose the type of question you want to add. Now, the two types of questions you can have are multiple choice and true and false. A third category, which we'll look at in a moment, is you can also have free-form questions, which gives you a whole nother opportunity of what you can do. So let's come up with our first question. How do you like the clicker system? Right, now obviously I can choose, is this a free-form question, I just want them to give me their feedback, or am I looking for a scale or a rating? So maybe I want them to rate it, and I'm going to use a scale. So essentially like a multiple choice, I've chosen bullet options, and I can now put in some options. Very nice. Second option, nice. Third option, okay. Not nice. And maybe for those who really don't like it, hate it. Right, so now I've got a range of options that can be used, and once I've entered my options, I simply click add, and it informs me that that question has been added. You can continue to do this, adding more questions by going to the top, clicking add question, and you can add another question. I could do a simple true and false. Let's think of an example. For example, surveys like clicker make teaching better. That's a simple yes/no answer. So again, choose bullet options, and then you can just use the first two for your true and false. True, and then option B is going to be false. So now we have got a true and a false option, and once you've done that, again, you just click add, and those are now recorded as our second question. So this process can continue on and on, adding more questions. Another interesting possibility, rather than having predefined questions, which are obviously extremely useful when you're trying to get feedback, is to try and engage your audience with getting them to ask you questions. Now, typically in any sort of presentation, there is this power dynamic, and the people sitting in the audience often don't want to ask questions because they are afraid of looking silly, especially in a class with students. So here is an option of what you can do. So click add question, and this could be your only question you have in your survey if you so wanted. And you could have as your question, what question do you have? This is now going to allow them to enter a question. And for this one, we choose a text answer. So I leave that as text and hit add. So now what's going to happen is when people see this survey or this response, they're going to come up with an option for them to type in a question. So now the lecturer can look at their device, their iPad, their phone, or their computer, and see the audience questions that the audience had wanted to ask. So it provides an excellent way in which you can get interaction with your audience without them feeling threatened. Once you have done all of this, you will see all your questions are listed, and any of the questions can be edited. Should you decide that you're not happy with the question, you can change the wording. All you need to do is hit update, and it'll update the question. If you decide you don't want one of these questions, let's say for example we don't want this question on the true and false, whether they like it or not, we can very easily remove that question. Surveys like this make clicker teaching better, saying, you know what, I don't need that question, hit remove, and that question is taken out. So it's a very simple system of editing, updating, etc., adding new questions. Right, once you're done, if you go back to your surveys, you will see your questions listed. So the one that we've just created, you'll see there on the top, the clicker system, and that one is now active and it's ready for your audience to participate. All you need to do is provide them with the keyword. Once they have the keyword, they can access the questions and start to interact with you. What can you do? Well, simply you come to your dashboard, you click on Clicker System or whatever the survey name is you've got, and you can see all the questions and the answers, and as they start to provide feedback, the statistics will also be provided. So it's as simple as that to create a question. You can create as many surveys as you like, and it gives you an opportunity to gain valuable feedback from your audience. So we hope that you enjoy using the clicker system and put it to some innovative uses. It really can help you engage your audience and create a two-way form of communication, which before technology was not so easy to do.